I gave him one. Look, I gave him more for you. Okay, imagine growing up with John Lee as your grandfather, and you cannot sing or you cannot play. And
Mm,
it's like, and it's
mm,
funny. When I was younger, I wanted to play the guitar because he played it, but then he really did not want me to get into the music just because
mhm.
at the time he was going fighting against his publishing bag and getting all his music rights. I had uncles that followed in his footsteps that went down a wrong road. So he was very cautious of his big head grandson and asked a lot of questions. So he did not want that life for me. He always wanted me to go into business. So he always brought me on the business side. I was just laughing and said, my claim to fame, I can read a music contract in high school because he would give them to me you know, and I would break them down with his lawyer. So yeah, no. So don't feel bad, man. I want to learn how to play too. I want to be a rock star.
I really want to play an instrument, and I know I'm gonna play one. I can dabble the piano, I can read a music sheet, but I can't. I won't consider myself being the best at doing it. So,
No.
Glenn, introduce yourself to the folk. Who are you?
Who am
Who
I? My
are
name is
you?
Glenn Thomas, and I always like to say I'm just a kid from Oakland. I went on this crazy journey that everyone told me that, oh man, you sure you want to do this? But and we get into it, but it was very important that I did this to honor my grandfather. And I come from a background of banking or real estate and mortgage, so this is a totally new field for me. And I took 2 years to really, really learn the business, travel, drunk a lot of bourbon, and did all that. So, I am the founder, along with my mother, of the brand. We came out in April, started online, and then we went live somewhere in the middle of June. And now we're really going hard on our, getting activated in different states. So,
Correct. Correct. So, John Lee Hooker. What is that about? What's the name about?
John Lee Hooker is to me is music. He's blues. He. So if you look at people talk in football, they talk about coaching trees. If
Correct.
you look at his music tree, it's crazy. The people who came off of it, a lot of people didn't know the Rolling Stones opened for him when he went over to Europe. Eric Clapton, all these type of European artists. My grandfather went to Europe because someone told him he was a star there. He was here back in the 60s. He was doing his thing, and he didn't know he was a superstar over in Europe. And so he, I know it had to be nerve wracking for him to jump on that plane to fly
Yeah.
across the ocean. So
Especially
he
in the
did,
60s.
yeah, especially in the 60s. But then when he got there, he was greeted with so much love, and he was just embraced by everybody. And my grandfather's type person, he was a very loving person. He was a very, you know, if his story was hard growing up. He left home early, deal with a lot of adversity, but he always was a loving person. He kept it, and that's one thing I've always admired about him. And
And that's
he
the
got
one
over.
thing I forgot to ask you, because I forgot to text you, say, hey, I want to see his picture, because I wanted to have his picture to display so people know who the man is.
Oh, okay.
Because everybody knows. I tell people, even me that immigrated from a different country,
Mm.
when you hear boom boom boom
Boom,
boom
boom. Look,
boom
go look
boom
at
boom boom,
you.
you
Go look at
already know
you.
what that is, even if
Yeah.
you're like, I heard this before. So
Yeah.
um
But you know what? Like I tell people, I say, go look at NCIS New Orleans. That's the
oh
theme
yeah,
song. He
yeah.
did it with Big Head Todd and the Monsters and that type of thing. So that was so he influenced so many people. And the thing about him, he loved the young artists. He loved people who loved music, and he would sit up there. I would be with my grandfather places, and after the show, he's sitting out there talking to people. He's sitting out there, and I'm like, okay, is it time to leave? I'm
Right.
ready to go. But
Right.
he sat up there and gave the time to everybody, and then he had this little club over in San Francisco called a Boom Boom Room, and I still run into people. I ran into somebody last Saturday. Oh, I remember your grandfather's club. I would go there. He'd be sitting in the back in his booth with a bunch of people around him, and he would just come in. He just loved being around people, and that was the thing that was special about him. People always say, "Oh, people who are famous and they this and that," but he was never that way. And I don't think he really considered himself famous because he got his success so late in life. His success came late. He made all them songs, but he didn't get the recognition until later on.
Yeah.
And so he definitely appreciated it. And he always, like I said, I went to see a concert and I was very impressed that the artist started on time, gave a great show. Because so many times you have these artists, they will come out there and they will just phone it in. And he told me one time, he said, I can never just phone it in because I don't know if this person has spent their last dollar to see me.
Yeah.
So I have to give it my all. So, so that's, them days when, and I've always had that, them days when I might not feel like getting up and doing something. You know what? Your granddaddy did this. He got up and you had no choice. So, you have your little pity party, you have a 30-minute pity party, then it's on about business after that.
Correct. So your grandfather, John Lee Hooker, it's one of the greatest artists. Like I said, if you watch CSI New Orleans, that's literally him. He's one of the biggest name Hall of Famer. Right, is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, he was in second class.
Yeah,
I think he was in second when Rock and Roll Hall of Fame opened up. He went into second class. He just got Rolling Stones just called him one of the top 50th guitarists of all times.
Correct.
He's in the Grammy Hall of Fame. So he got a lot of hardware for and it's good. I'm glad that people, because like I said, I never saw him as an artist. And,
correct. That's your granddad.
And I tell you a couple of coolest stories as we go, but I just always he was granddaddy, but he, like I said again, he just always was that down to earth person, tell jokes and all of that. But that was like he was granddaddy. He was not a star to me. He was granddaddy.
So, okay. Now, since this show is about whiskey,
Let's
and
talk
tell
whiskey.
us about the whiskey, you launched the brand John Lee Hooker in honor of your granddaddy.
And also the company is John Lee Hooker Legacy Spirit. The brand is Boogie Chillin' Bourbon. And the reason I call it Boogie Chillin' Bourbon, 1948. That's when Boogie Chillin' came out, and it was the first blues song to go #1 on the chart. And this first release I called 1948 because that's the year it came out, 1948. And I wanted to, since this is the launching point of this brand, and I have other things I'm working on that I'm trying to get out by the end of the year or early next year. I wanted to do something to where it honored that accomplishment. And 1948, and also the year my mother was born. Funny story. My grandfather, when the song he heard on the radio, he's working at GM, and the song came on the radio, and all the co-workers, he was a janitor, everybody got all excited. Hey, Johnny, your song on the radio. They in there dancing, having a good time in the factory. And then the supervisor walked in and told, what y'all doing making all this noise? What's going on? And they said, hey, Johnny's song is on the radio. Johnny's song on the radio. He looked around. I don't care what. I don't care if it's on the radio. He about to keep cleaning these floors. Y'all need to be quiet. And so he was like, I quit. And he at that moment, he walked out. And, when he told me the story the first time, I was like, wow, granddad, he said, that was the dumbest decision I made. Your mama had just been born, but, he said, forget it. He said he was not going to, downgrade my music, and I had to go live on that faith. And he did it. He went out there and did it.
So how did the whiskey come about?
With the whiskey, it came about because, like I said, I lived on and off with my grandfather. I'm the oldest grandchild. So we've had these different bonds. And I remember funny, when I turned 21, I was going to school. I was in college, and most people at 21 in college, they broke. So my birthday came around. So I'm like, hey, let me go visit granddaddy and get some money. So I go out there to go see him, and he said, oh, you're 21 now, you can have a drink with me. I'm like, granddad, I've had a drink before, so it ain't the first time. So he was like, well, you never had a drink with me, come on, I can have a drink with my grandson, come, let's do this. So him and my uncle and a couple other people there, they pour me a little bit in my glass, and I'm looking around like, okay, where's the Coke, and where's the Coke, where's the Coke, and where's the ice at? And he said, no, we don't drink like that, we drink like this, how you drink it. And I'm like, okay. So I needed that money, Jack, right? So I couldn't offend this man at this moment. He's not going to give me that money. So I'm like, okay, fine. So they pour my drink. And so I do just like this. They said, everybody, happy birthday, man. I'm like, oh, whoa. I just shoot it. Just shoot it to them. And they looking at me like, what's wrong with this boy? I'm coughing and burning my chest. I'm like, well, this is terrible. Oh, it's terrible. I don't want no more. And they laugh. And he said, no. He said, look what you did. You just jumped in. I'm like, I don't want no more. He said, well, you haven't had a drink with me yet because nobody else drunk but you. So here, pour him another glass. And he said, now this time, listen, Glenn. I'm like, okay, let's go back to when you're 21. You just turned 21. You're in college. You're trying to go see your people. I'm hurrying. I'm trying to get out of here. I'm on the clock. And then he says, okay, now relax, Glenn. Just relax. I'm like, okay. Exhale. I'm like, okay, I'm exhale. He said, now just take it and just sip a little bit. And I'm like, oh, it's not that bad. He said, okay, now do it again. I said, okay, it's not bad. It's not too bad. And he said, that's life. I'm like, what you mean that's life? He said, that first drink, you rushed and you got burned. That second drink, you took your time and you enjoyed it. He said, that's life. If you rush, a lot of times you're going to crash and burn. But if you take your time and enjoy the ride, you get a nice, pleasurable life and you can, have a good life. And when he said it to me, it did not register because I was trying to get out of here. But a few years later, when I had my son, I thought about it and I called him and said, Granddad, what you told me, I get it now. If I just slow down. And then he said, what are you talking about? I said, when we was drinking my 21st birthday, he said, what did I say? And I told him, he said, oh, yeah. He said, slow down, boy. You go too fast. Bye. I'm busy. And hung up on me. And that was John Lee in a nutshell.
So,
and so, oh yes, I'm sorry.
You have a great memory of him.
Yeah, memory, and that's it. That's my love affair. That's when I started liking bourbon. So when I thought about doing something to honor him, I started when he first passed away. I started the foundation back in 2001. It's still going strong. We work with kids. We teach. We call it the Blues in School. We teach kids music. Or actually, we don't teach. We give instruments to the school, and we set them up with local artists who teach music to the kids. And so that's something he's always liked. He loved little kids in music, and so we carry that on. And so this bourbon thing was something I thought about. And then one day I decided I just got to jump in and just go all out because normally when I drink bourbon, when I'm just sitting up there just mellowing out, I do go to those times thinking about my grandfather. Thinking about both my grandfathers, thinking about, my brother who passed away years ago. It's my time of reflection. And to me, bourbon or whiskey it's unlike tequila and other drinks like that. You're not doing it fast. You want to enjoy it. You want to get a nice cigar.
What makes one go from reflecting on just bourbon, thinking about family to, I think I'm gonna own one?
I mean, why not?
I didn't say I would take that.
You know what? And really, I mean, I just didn't think we had a lot of people look like me in the space, and I thought that, why not? I said I want, at the point in my life, I want to do something that I enjoy. I get to get up every day and get frustrated behind little different things. But it's a good frustration. And once again, this is about legacy. My family, my grandfather, when he passed away, he set up a trust and set up an LLC to take care of the family for generations. After 21 years, some members of my family voted, and they voted to sell the publishing. And to me, that was the worst thing that you can do. And And so I was thinking, I said, okay, I've been wanting to do something. Well, let me go ahead and do something before I can't do it. And the end goal on this is to buy my grandfather's publishing back, to put it within my family, and to carry on from, because I don't want my granddaughter not to really know who her great grandfather was or great great grandfather, because when you don't hold when you don't hold the publishing or things like that, or anything, let's say your family had a cleaners
Correct.
and they had it for generations, James Smith cleaners, but then when they sell it, the members of the family won't know anything about it. So I wanted to make sure that I curate this legacy, let everybody know that we are the family. It's 100% owned by family. And I wanted, like I said, I wanted to do something to be able to reacquire the publishing and put it back in our family. And, so like I said, doing this, the best thing about doing this is I met a lot of people who were fans of him, who admired his music, who met him at one point or something like that. And I hear all these great stories. So it's therapeutic for me to be able to hear stories about a person who was my hero, to hear all these other people saying these great things about him. So, it to me, like I said, I'll get to wake up every day and think about what am I going to do to push this forward and least make sure my grandkids and my great great grandkids know how great their great great grandfather was, and that he's part of their line. A lot of times, our legacy is lost, it's sold off, and we don't know.
Correct.
You got people who it could be a famous artist from back in the 20s, and his family or her family really don't have any connection because all this stuff was sold off.
Correct.
And if even if the check coming in is 20 cents a year, it's still something that you have. And so it's not really about monetary, it's just that it's mine. This is like a rancher, you're in Nebraska, a farmer. They pass some farms down for generations to generation. It might not be generating much revenue, but guess what? That farm's been in that family for decades and generations. And that's what I want to do with my grandfather's legacy.
Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Let's get to it.
Right? So obviously, this is honoring him. It's going to build a legacy, and you want this to be a perpetuity. So obviously, your kids and their kids probably know that there's something out there who what honors your family as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
You bourbon because he loves himself a good bourbon.
One bourbon, one scotch, one beer.
Correct. So now let's talk about the bourbon itself.
Let's talk about it.
How did the bourbon come about?
It came about through, like I said, talking to a lot of people, the 2-year journey, reaching out to wholesalers, reaching out to everybody. And then I was starting the process, working on the design of the bottle. And then someone, this guy told me about, say, you need to reach out to these people. I reached out to one person, they connected me to somebody else. And then I got connected to Susie Garvin over at Barstown Bourbon Company. Told her my story, what I wanted to do. And she said, you know what? We talked, we had about 4 to 5 conversations because we both wanted to get to know each other. And she said, you know what, Glenn, I want to work with you, but one condition. I'm like, what's the condition? I'm like, here we come. I always got to be a catch. And she said, no, you need to come to Kentucky and spend a couple days at the distillery. And I want you to see and, get to know. I'm like, oh, so you mean come to Kentucky and drink bourbon for 2 days with you and the staff? Yeah. Ticket booked. I booked the ticket while we were speaking pretty much. So get out there and like I said, prior to that, I went to different distilleries. I tasted a ton of samples. But to go there and to see something on that scale, like I said, I've seen distilleries, but the Barstow was, going behind the scenes and see everything that went into it. It was very impressive. And then we talked about my favorite profile. Lance there, who I worked with, Lance had me tasting all types of bourbons. We tasted everything. We tasted their stuff. We tasted other people's stuff. We tasted everything because he was trying to help me to find my palate. What did I like? And then once we hammered that down, he started giving me more samples. And a lot of these samples I got after the facts. I wasn't drinking that much there because I wouldn't have made it out. But he gave me a lot of different samples that were close to what I liked. And when I tasted this one, I was so overwhelmed with it that I had to ask my fiance, Quinine, I said, Quinine, come taste this. And she said, because her palate, I ain't gonna lie to you, her palate's way better than mine. Her palate is, she went in, so
all women that love whiskey have a better palate than that. So.
Yeah, and so she tasted it and she said, oh my God. And I'm like, it really is good. And she said, yes. And so that was it. And so then I talked to Lance, and when I was there, we talked about placements in the Rick House. And he said, I think your profile, you like the lower part of the Rick House. And he was saying, I'm like, okay. I said, why? He said, because the lower part, it won't get as hot as the top, and it keeps more of the milder flavor. So he said, I'm going to see some from the top, and I'm going to see from the bottom. I'm just going to put a number on there. I'm not going to tell you which ones they are. Same juice, but different locations. And then I told him, I said, okay, yeah, this, I kept going to one. He said, okay, those are the lower part of the Rick House. So when they came out, I knew I wanted to go 100 proof because to me, doing the research, the whole bottle in the bond. And, people say, well, is it bottle in the bond? Technically, it is bottle in the bond, same distillery, same warehouse, same bottling facility. Everything stayed there. I'm new to this. I didn't really understand the whole bottle and bond. And when you're trying to figure out boxes for glasses and tops, that was the least of my worries. So
right.
I knew I wanted to proof it down to 100 proof. So I didn't need, it didn't need to be 115. The ones in the lower part of Rick House, they were 109. It kept all those flavors, because the thing I like about it, I love the nose, because I call it candy in the jar. You get that brown sugar, that caramel, that leather, those type of things. So, and so I wanted something like that. I wanted something that's a sipper. I wanted something to where when you're drinking it, you're not in a rush to go nowhere. I like that glass, sir.
Yeah, somebody sent it to me. Okay. The smell here remind me of a bakery, mostly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that yeasty, sweet, that sweet bread.
Yes, I get. Someone told me biscuits, and I'm like, somebody said biscuits.
Bakery is really bready on the nose, and obviously when you go deeper, you get a little bit of those fruity notes that come through. So tell me about the process. So you get to it, you choose this one resonate with you. You work with Bardstown Bourbon Company, which a lot of people, if you don't know, a lot of things in your bottles are coming out of Bardstown Bourbon Company that is actually offering a lot of recipes. I call Bardstown Bourbon Company the MGP of Kentucky because they are producing a lot of recipes out there for folks to actually try.
Yeah, they have. I mean, when I went there and saw the brands that they worked with, because one of the things I'm thinking, like, okay, people are not going to take me serious. I'm not distilling it myself. I'm not going to pick the corn and grind it up. But then once I heard, hey, a lot of people source, and then, eventually, would I like to have a distillery or something like that? Yeah, but I know that's a 6-year process before you get your first. If you're lucky to get your first barrel out, in 6 years. And so to work with somebody like that who's an expert at it, you know, I thought I was very honored that they had confidence in me and what my plan was to want to work with me, because as you know, they only work with people on large scales. So for them to work with me and see my vision, it was very it became humbling once I saw that they really believed in it and they went that way for me. So
What's
and
the
on that
average? What's the average barrel age in the blend?
about 4.5, somewhere around there.
Okay. Age
4.5. And
because
see, think of go ahead.
from just the taste,
Hmm.
the bourbon is balanced. You get that nice sweet note. The nose actually is more impressive. Actually,
Hmm. Hmm.
bourbon is balanced. You get a little bit of those sweet note at the front. Back gives you that nice Kentucky hug you're looking for. The mid palate is settled. I would call it bourbon for somebody walking in. It's bourbon for somebody that is first 3 to 4 years into bourbon. You don't
Yeah.
like anything aggressive. You don't want anything out of the ordinary. Also, you may not, you don't want, even if you live in a warmer climate too, this bourbon works.
Hmm.
Um, from the spice profile, it will stand really well into a cocktail. So old fashioned definitely
Yeah.
it will work in an old fashioned, but it tastes a little young than what
Hmm.
I'm used to when I hear Kentucky
Yeah.
whiskey.
Yeah.
So
And,
that's
and
why I
you
was
know,
like, okay, I want
and
I
you know
want
what?
to
And
go the
no,
age.
no. And what and like I said, I do when I drink high. A lot of my stuff is very high proof, very strong. But like I said, my favorite or my sweet spot is 4.5 years. I like it because sometimes you can have a 7, 8 year old bourbon and it doesn't taste good. It's just there is a reason it was in that barrel for 7, 8 years.
Correct.
They're just trying to get an age statement on it to try and do it to cover it up, or they're going to blend it with a bunch of other things. You know, I wanted something to where, like you said about the cocktails, I thought 100 proof was important because when you're making a cocktail, you want it to hold up. I don't want it to be 80 proof or something like that. So as soon as you make a cocktail, you complain it to the bartender saying, "Oh, this is a weak drink."
Hmm.
It's something that where, like you said, I don't. This one ain't. I didn't make this one to beat up anybody. I got some stuff that can't will beat you up. I got a lot of high stuff that's coming out rye. Got some good age on it, and it's going to beat you up. But I wanted to make an introduction
Hmm.
to get the novice bourbon drinker or the person who's thinking about becoming a bourbon drinker. That's why with the mash field, I went 75 corn, 15 rye, and 10 barley
Yeah,
because
that spice note there is
mm,
quite pertinent. I love it.
mm,
It
mhm,
stays on you.
mhm,
It reminds you of that. It's the little bit of that graininess on the back that you tells you the bourbon is a little young, but it is. But you get the three things you expect out of a good bourbon,
yeah,
which and those nice sweet caramelized note at the front, mid palate give you a little bit of that oakiness, and at the finish, that nice warm. So it is a solid bourbon
yeah,
to actually go as an introductory bourbon.
yeah, coming out in April, I won 7 awards so far. I won one of them is a design because, like I said, she is, and this is right here. Uh, this is one of the first bottles that came off. The
Correct.
first bottle is upstairs because I had all the people at Barstown sign it. But if you look at the label, I spent a lot of detail on the label because I wanted to
Correct.
make it to look where after you drunk it, you didn't want to throw the bottle away. I put a lot of time into it. I worked with a company out of Oregon called High Proof, and Karen was able to push me to get there because I'm not a creative person
Correct.
who can sit up there
Correct.
and do all that.
Hey, if you
And
can do it, bring the people that can help you do
they
it.
can do it, yeah. And she helped me push it and get to this label. Like I said, so far we won 6 for taste. We won 2 golds. We won a gold with the Ascot Gold,
Mhm.
LA Spirit. We won silver, San Francisco, New York Bartenders ADI. And the lowest score we got so far was 88 in all the
Right.
competitions we went into. So
Congratulations. That's good.
thank
Like I
Yeah.
say,
So
it is a solid bourbon.
mhm.
It will only get better with a little bit of age statement.
Oh yeah.
I think it will round up. But nice cocktail bourbon. I mean, you cannot go wrong. If somebody walk in and say, "Pour me a bourbon," and they pour this, you
Yeah.
stand up in the same line at any
Yeah.
becoming bourbon. So let's talk distribution.
Okay.
Where can people buy this bourbon? Is it available online? Is it
Yeah,
available
it's
retail?
available online, but let me tell you something. Okay, I started in California, and
Mhm.
I'm self distributing through Park Street Imports because I
Okay,
feel it important to find a distributor that sees the vision. I don't want to get with somebody who's just going to get it and throw it on the shelf. So work with Park Street. We're able to get into a lot of stores, but the biggest accomplishment was we got Total Wine. We got Total Wine in 8 states. Right now, we got California, Arizona, Texas, Georgia, New York, Florida, South Carolina, and Tennessee.
that
So,
is that is that is big.
yeah, I mean, yeah, and like I said, I wake up every day knowing nobody's going to do nothing for me, so I have to go all out. I want to
Correct.
get this on my own. New York, New Jersey, they go online. They're going on online August 1st to Total Wine.
Correct.
California, we here now. We're going Texas and Arizona. I'm working with distributor partners there to get in there. But the big news that I had over the weekend, I'm going into Georgia. And Georgia is special to me because I lived in Georgia for years. My mother lives in Georgia. We got what Savannah distribution in Georgia, and
It's time
they.
to create an activation there and bring all the old heads to
Oh
come.
no, but no. Here's the thing about it. You know when you to be wanted, Jack. And from day one, talked to the president over there. We talked on Thursday. He said, "Okay, I got the bottle. I'm gonna taste it with my staff on Friday. I get back with you on Tuesday." I'm like, "Hey, fine." He called me that hour later and saying, "You know what? I tasted it with my VP. This is great. It's a no brainer. We want you. We want to do a whole activation with you." You
Correct.
know, I'm like, "Hey," I said, "I'm down. Let's go." I'm going out there, Georgia, in I can't believe it's August already. I'm going to Georgia in 2 weeks, and I got 3 or 4 events lined up there. We're about to do a whole activation out there. I'm gonna go to I'm going to 50. I'm going to 50 spot. We're gonna do something up there, and no, I'm really excited about Georgia, and just I'm going out there and I'm trying to run it up. I'm trying to get as many accounts. I told him, I said, "Hey,
That's the way to do it. That you're
yeah,
on the right path. Sometimes it's good to be new because
mhm,
I know your background in real estate, so you understand how business need to proliferate, so people
yeah,
actually know activation, activation. My advice would be activation, activation, activation in any place that you can.
yeah,
Congratulations on this product. Not everybody can be proud to actually bring up their family name and their family legacy in the
mhm,
best way, to obviously honor a man, a myth,
mhm,
a legend that actually made a difference not only in African American history,
mhm.
music history, and a lot
Yeah.
of people's life.
But let me
And
say this too, though. And I mean, control that because I love what you're saying. But people then said bourbon. What is bourbon? Isn't bourbon the only true American spirit?
correct,
My grandfather's an American legend. So why
correct.
not put the true American spirit and American legend together and do it
You
from a
you get
bottle?
no complaint from me on that
but
statement.
but I have to thank you because I remember months ago before I came on, we talked, and you gave me a good earful. I'm like, oh, you gave me a good earful, and I loved it. The thing that you told me to do, I'm working on it now. I did one, I didn't like it, so we're going back. But I'm working on something that we talked about, and it will be coming out shortly. And I think you're going to be very impressed with it. When I get it out, I'll send it to you. Don't want to talk about it now and jinx it, but you told me the way to do it, and the thing I like about you, you just like straight. You like here, boom, 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 and some people can't deal with that. I love that. Don't
Yeah,
don't. I like this looks like right. Let's go right to it. And ever since you told me, that's been in the back of my mind. I said, okay, I got to do this because I think that's what's going to take it to the next level. But I want to thank you for even taking the time to talk to me
no, no.
when you know
That's the
because
least I
you get hit. I
you
mean, I know you get hit
you
up.
have no idea. Even while we are talking right now,
Mhm.
the reason why my camera stopped for a minute because
Mhm.
my daughter got she started driving. She got involved in an accident, so I
Oh
had to
no.
talk to her. That's why I stopped.
Oh,
So
okay.
when this time thing stopped, I'm running right now to go be
Okay.
daddy.
Is
But I
she all
want
right? Is she all
yeah,
right?
she says she's all right, and
Okay.
I told her by day I'm an insurance agent, so
Yeah.
obviously I know, but that daddy mode has to be
Oh
activated.
yeah. You gotta go daddy mode.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. But the last question I will have for you is: it is out here, it is here already.
Hmm.
People are gonna hear about it. People that are watching the recast are gonna see this. It's already on Beyonce's internet. What should people
Okay.
expect out of John Lee Hooker Legacy Spirit moving forward? Is just going to
Yeah.
be this expression? Is it other expression coming up? And also, what is the MSRP people have to get ready to honor a legend when they're going
Okay.
on the shelf to go buy?
Oh yeah. Right now, I started. Suggested retail price is right around $100. Total wine got it for 88. Um, the things you can expect going forward. I'm going to come out with some ryes because I like wheated bourbons as well. I do like my wheat, so
Okay.
I got it. I got to give me some wheats. So I'm going to come out with different things, and you're going to find a founder who is not just sitting up trying to figure out a way to maximize the bottom line. This is I want to be out there pushing this brand, getting to know people, and asking people because the next thing I'm coming out with is from feedback I got from different tastings I've done. People saying they want certain things like this, so that's I got you know different things coming out. But end of the year, excuse me, I might try and do one more release at the end of the year for OND. Um, I'm working on a whole box set for next year.
Okay.
But it's gonna be. I'm a bourbon drinker first and foremost, so I want to put out things that are made for other people like myself who love bourbons.
Correct.
I'm going to come out with just all types of crazy things. I might save up my coins and pay Jack to come up there and do a special blend for me. I don't
Don't worry.
know,
Don't
but
worry. We'll make something happen.
yeah. So I just want to be. I want to keep it fun. I want to keep it lighthearted because at the end of the day, I gotta have fun doing this, and I'm having fun doing it. I'm honoring my grandfather. I'm bringing my kids and other family members into the business, because I think it's important that they do it. Part of the proceeds will go to our foundation, the John Lee Hooker Foundation. Uh, so I just want to do something that when he's sitting up there with his hat tilted down, he's smiling, and I want to honor him, and I want my kids when they look back at me, oh, they're my father, my grandfather. He did something to keep the legacy in our family because of his love that he had for his grandfather. So that's
Man,
it.
Glenn, this has been a riveting moment. I appreciate you coming and telling us about the man, the myth, the legend. If it wasn't because of YouTube striking, I'll have put the music on so we can actually play and have it here and really honor him. But if you guys want to hear what the man is, I need you to go and check out and take it. Just I promise you, just Google or go on your best Spotify
Go,
or
yeah,
just go John Lee
John.
John Lee Hooker, and you will be surprised.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I am not gonna say who he did tracks with because I want people to go out there and look, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, he
look,
did something with
look,
him."
definitely look because you are going to be surprised on what you actually find about this man. He is American history. But right now, as you actually are here in this interview, the first thing I would tell you to check out is I need you to actually make sure that you don't forget to check out GLH Legacy, right? GLH, GLH Legacy Spirits.com. I need you to go check that out and really know what is it that Glenn and his family are doing to bring something new, and something different, and honor true legend, a Hall of Famer, a Grammy Award, multiple Grammy Award winning person. Shout out to Barstown Bourbon Company on bringing, working with you to bring this thing to life, and making sure that people know more about what's going on here. If you're here and watching the recast, I wanna thank you for watching, and make sure you reach out with any question you may have, and I'm gonna ask Glenn, and make sure that we do. And stay tuned, maybe something new, something interesting, maybe coming through, on our side, and we will make sure we honor a true legend.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Glenn, for coming on. Thank you for being here, for telling us about John himself, telling us about your family, bringing, being vulnerable enough to tell the story of your family. I hope your mother's proud. I hope you're proud of what you're doing. And all we have to do is just go out there and pick up a bottle. I'm telling you, just pick up a bottle for the sake of history. You may not even open it, but pick up a bottle for the sake of history, because it's the only time you can say, I have a bottle of somebody that was a living legend, that I just discovered. So thank you all for being here. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.
All right. See you, Jack, and good luck with your daughter, brother.
Absolutely. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, bro.